Welcome to TD Place. It's a beautiful Wednesday night here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, as the Richmond Kickers coming into town to face off against Ottawa Fury FC. Gord Smith alongside myself, Tyler McDonald. Thank you so much for joining in here tonight. And boy, Gord, the Richmond Kickers on what is a very hot summer have been ice cold recently, haven't they?
They really have. The last 4 games, 4 losses, 3 goals given up in 3 of those games, 10 in total, no goals for. That really has to change this evening if Richmond's going to get anything out of this match here tonight.
Well, if that no goals continues, you have to think Trevor Spangenberg, their goalie, is really going to have to be hot tonight to try and keep a clean sheet and get a point tonight. He's
going to have to be, because I'm sure the Fury, certainly in the first 15 minutes, are going to come out gangbusters at them, looking to get that early goal, really put Richmond on the back foot here tonight.
Our player to watch for Ottawa Fury FC, the newcomer, his first start for Fury FC, Daniel Kanumbi. How do you think he's going to do? What are you looking forward to him tonight?
I think he's just got to come in and do what he did on the weekend. He come in and try and give a little bit of a spark up front. He will be starting, it looks like, out wide on the left. Karl Haworth will be on the right. I think Kanumbi will be relied upon to try and get not only goals, but possibly create a few assists and a few chances for the lads up front as well. Some
new faces in the Fury FC lineup. I'm sure the fans will be very excited to see how they will turn out in tonight's game. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, AJ Jackie-back, Graham Ivory on the call. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru
Beep.
Impreza.
Beep. Ouch.
And welcome back inside TD Place in Ottawa. AJ Jackie-back alongside Graham Ivory as we get set for the start of this one between Ottawa Fury FC and the Richmond Kickers. And Graham, 11 matches left. Ottawa sitting just outside a playoff spot. It seems like they've been bouncing between just in and just out. And I don't think there's any question Ottawa needing 3 points here tonight. It's not absolute must-win territory for sure, but this is 3 points that they have to have.
Yeah, and Captain Karl Haworth, who makes his first start since returning from injury tonight, he talked about that today in the media, saying, look, this is a must-win game. The playoff run for them really starts tonight. They need the 3 points, and you talk about them kind of bouncing in and out. Well, tonight's a great opportunity against a side that has struggled lately for them to get the 3 points to bounce back in and really try and find that form that they desperately need heading into these last 11 games of the season after only being able to pick up 1 out of a possible 6 points away from home in that 2-game road trip last week.
Let's have a look at the starting 11 for both sides, and we'll start with the visiting Richmond Kickers. And you've got Trevor Spangenberg, the keeper, Braden Troyer, Mikael Williams, Milan Roberts, the ex-Fury player, and also Austin Yearwood at the back, Neil Halavity, Prince Agumang, Brandon Eaton and Luis Fernando in midfield. Brian Shriver and Eviel Cordovez up top. For Ottawa, going with the 4-3-3. Maxime Crépeau in goal. Back four of Onwo Obasi, Thomas Mayer-Jaguar, Nana Adakora, and Eddie Edward. Jamar Dixon, Christian Portilla, and Kevin Oliveira in midfield. And then it's Daniel Kanumbe with his first Ottawa Fury FC start. Tony Taylor and Karl Haworth, who returns from an injury, having come on as a substitute in that 2-0 defeat on the weekend at Nashville.
I really like the front three for Ottawa starting tonight, especially what we saw in that second half against Nashville when Haworth subbed into the match alongside Kanumbe, and there just seemed to be a completely different energy to Ottawa's attack. And really for the last 6, 7, maybe 8 weeks now, Tony Taylor has been the most effective forward in Nikola Popovic's lineup, and he gets that start in the middle here tonight in a very important game against the Richmond side that they haven't been able to get it going, especially of late, really struggling. And this is a team where Ottawa can really build in confidence with a strong result against them here tonight.
So we're underway at TD Place. Fury in their home black and red kits with the black shorts and black socks, and they move left to right in this first half. Richmond in their white kits with the red numbers and red stripes, white shorts, white socks, and they move right to left in this opening 45 minutes. As the ball goes over the head of the captain, Karl Haworth, and Richmond in possession. Work it back to Mikel Williams. 20 caps for Trinidad and Tobago as he gives up possession. Here's Kanumbe. Wide left, Kevin Oliveira. Now to Obasi, and he'll win a throw just beyond the halfway line. Obasi with the throw as this is headed out for another Ottawa throw. Second minute, 0-0. Fury just outside of a playoff spot coming into this one as they look to work their way into the top 8. And it will be a goal kick. We'll give you the standings here briefly as Ottawa 9th. They are one back of 8th place Indy, and of course the Indy 11 in Ottawa Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Also in action tonight, hosting the team right below Ottawa Fury FC. That's North Carolina FC, a team that's got 3 wins and 2 draws in their last 5 matches. So you're 1 up on North Carolina, 1 back of Indy 11, 2 back of Bethlehem with 2 matches in hand on the Steel, and 3 behind the 6th place Nashville SC side that they lost to last Friday night. So nonetheless, some big matches coming up here. SportsClubStats.com, always good for math in terms of saying what the percentages are. And for Ottawa to finish in 8th, it says 5 wins and 2 draws in their last 11 would give them a 67% chance of getting in. So I think that's the bare minimum, is 17 points in the last 11 matches. And when we play a side like Richmond that has 18 points, they're 14 out of a playoff spot, and you're at home, and you need 17 points in 11 games, I think that's why 3 points is so important here tonight, Graham.
Yeah, well, and especially we've talked about this for a number of weeks now with kind of the recent run of home games for Ottawa, that getting these points at home are really a must, because when you get into the latter part of this month, when you're away from home for I think 5 straight games, that's a big ask for a team to go away from home and try and collect all 3 points on a consistent basis when you're going against some tough opposition there as well.
With Richmond in possession inside their own half, let's have a look at the 3 keys to an Ottawa Fury FC victory.
3 keys to a Fury FC win here tonight, AJ. Key number 1, dominance with a hint of desperation, and we're all talking about the need to win and every game being of massive importance to achieve their playoff goals. And while Fury must remain confident against tonight's opposition and dominate Richmond, a hint of desperation may be a key ingredient in that dominance. Key number 2, crush Richmond early. Tonight's opposition have lost 4 straight, are winless in 6, and haven't scored in their last 4 games. And for 2 teams that are struggling offensively, Ottawa needs to make their mark early here tonight. And key number 3, offensive depth, with Nikola Popovic now looking to have a healthy squad with plenty at his disposal on offense. Ottawa needs to score. No reflecting on the great chances missed, just the celebration on the offense coming to life.
Nice play by Thomas Mayer-Jaguar to get a touch on it, to send it out as Richmond was attacking, and they have the ball right now, middle of the park inside the Ottawa half. They get it out wide right for Brandon Eaton with the cross, and this will be dealt with outside the 6-yard box by Fury keeper Maxime Crépeau, tied for second in the USL with 10 clean sheets. Only Pittsburgh's Dan Lind has more, and he only has 1 more. 11 for a team that's only conceded 11 goals in 22 matches. What a year for Bob Lilly's Pittsburgh Riverhounds after moving over from the Rochester Rhinos in the offseason, with Rochester taking a year off. Implements the same style and even more success than he had last year at Rochester, with Pittsburgh sitting second in USL East, just 5 points back of FC Cincinnati, as Anu Obasi is fouled, and this will be a free kick for Ottawa. 0-0 here in the 6th minute. Free kick just inside the Fury half. Yeah, and what a remarkable influence you've seen from a guy like Bob Lilly, who every team he's managed, you could write down the style of how they're going to play to a T, regardless of who's in the squad or what club he's managing. It's been consistent, and you're right, AJ. He has certainly, I think, exceeded expectations to date anyways in Pittsburgh, and that defensive record, which is something that he always prides his side on, is quite remarkable this year when you've conceded, as you mentioned, just the 11 goals through 22 contests. Very important stretch of games. Indy 11, the team in 8th here on Saturday. Then Wednesday you go to Bethlehem, they're in 7th. And again, you're 2 back of the steal with 2 games in hand, as you're able to draw a free kick edge of the 18-yard box. That's Kevin Oliveira who draws the foul. This is going to be a very dangerous spot for a free kick for Ottawa. Yeah, and immediately Captain Karl Haworth gets over there, and now there's the debate between Haworth, Oliveira, Christian Portilla, who is going to take the opportunity, rather make that Tony Taylor is in there as well. Oliveira collects the ball, he comes over. So this will be about 21 yards out, left of center. Closer to the left edge of the penalty area than the middle. But a very dangerous spot for this set piece for Ottawa Fury. 8th minute, 0-0. And I think this is going to be the captain, Karl Haworth, who gives it a go. Referee blows play on. Here's Karl Haworth, and the shot, and it is 1-0 Ottawa Fury FC on Karl Haworth's free kick in the 8th minute. The keeper, Spangenberg, got a touch on it, but it curled inside the near post, and Fury have the early advantage. Well, we've seen this many a times now from Karl Haworth. That's the 2nd time this season, almost from the identical spot. Gets it up and over the wall, curling it into the near post. Spangenberg able to get the fingertips to it, but it's already past the goal line when he can get a touch. Fury FC 1-0 in front. A huge important goal and a great return to the starting lineup for the captain, Karl Haworth. Terrific to see for Karl Haworth. And Ottawa off to the races here tonight. For Karl Haworth, his 2nd goal in USL play here in 2018. Well, and both have come of that exact same variety. Both were free kicks. And I think that's a very important goal for Ottawa, and you can go into all the statistical analysis you like, but when this team scores first and when this team scores at home, well, they get points, and oftentimes it's of the victory variety.
And that's a very important start for Ottawa, especially as we mentioned against the Richmond side that has struggled to score this season, and especially the last 4 games where they've yet to score a goal.
Ball comes to Spangenberg, edge of the 6-yard box, and the Richmond keeper looking to send it forward as he gets it to the ex-Fury defender Milan Roberts, Canadian international. Played 22 games with Ottawa Fury in 2016. Ball over the top and at the edge of the Ottawa 18-yard box. It is Maxime Crépeau out to grab it as we have just about played 10 minutes here at TD Place, and an 8-minute goal has given Ottawa the lead from Karl Haworth. Ball ahead for Tony Taylor, headed away from him by Milan Roberts, and this will be a shove called on the captain Haworth, so a free kick Richmond inside his own half. Here's Mikel Williams. Roberts moves this wide left, Yearwood. Williams looking ahead towards Eaton as he is just short of the halfway line, playing this forward. Flicked on. And the ball sent inside the Ottawa penalty area, takes a bounce towards Eaton. He goes down. Kanumbe was able to get the ball, and it goes out. Eaton having a word with the referee. Should mention the referee today is Matt Suare, his assistants Andre Pickler and Eric Laliberté, and the 4th official is Pierre-Luc Lausière. As the offside flag is up on Richmond veteran striker Brian Shriver, certainly familiar to Ottawa fans. Fort Lauderdale Strikers, Carolina Railhawks, Tampa Bay Rowdies, and then North Carolina FC before making the move to Richmond.
Yeah, he is a certainly a known scorer at this level in North America. Karl Haworth, last goal he scored in the USL was the 12th of May in that 2-0 victory over Atlanta United. He scored the 2nd goal, which was, again, almost from an identical spot from the one he scored tonight, and also scored in that 1-0 victory against Blainville in the Canadian Championship preliminary round back on the 27th of June here at TD Place. So
all right, let's head down for a pitch side update. Here is Tyler McDonald.
Thank you very much, AJ, and some instructions, some simple instructions coming from the Ottawa Fury FC bench. And really the main one is, after going up 1-0, to make sure on set pieces and crosses coming into their own box, make sure the defenders, of course, are in front of the Richmond player. Get your man, get yourself in front of the ball coming in. Just basic fundamentals, reminding their team to try and keep this 1-0 lead. Back to you guys.
Fury able to win possession. Haworth ahead for Dixon. Now it comes towards Tony Taylor, beyond him, and Williams will play it back to Spangenberg. 14th minute, 1-0 Ottawa Fury FC. As this ball's won by Oliveira. Across for Karl Haworth. Plays it wide right for Eddie Edward. Edward looking to get to the byline. Stops now. Puts it back onto his right foot. The cross is blocked. And it's played forward here as Richmond look to counter with pace down the left side, but that second ball was a little too strong. Goes out for an Ottawa throw. One game we'll be certainly keeping our eye on tonight. Indy 11 against North Carolina FC. As of right now, Ottawa's put themselves back into that tie with Nashville on 34 points. With the victory, played 2 more games than Nashville SC, so 7th, ahead of Bethlehem, ahead of Indy. And again, Indy here on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Ball played forward into the Richmond half, but Roberts clears. And it's sent forward by Eddie Edward. This will be a Richmond throw inside their own half. Yearwood will look to take this as we played a quarter of an hour at TD Place. And Ottawa with the early jump, courtesy that 8th minute free kick from Karl Haworth.
Evgeny Starikov has opened the scoring in Indianapolis tonight. It's 1-0 Indy 11 over North Carolina.
I honestly think the best result tonight is a draw. Let 2 points go into the kitty instead of 3 because quite frankly you're battling both. But as of right now, Indy 11 with the lead. And I guess if Indy wins and Ottawa wins and you follow up with a win on Saturday against Indy 11, then you vault Indy as well. So everything changes so quickly in the USL with a couple of wins or a couple of losses, especially when you're talking about from 5th to 13th. Just 9 points separating those spots, and 4 of those teams will make the playoffs. As Ottawa up the middle, it's Jamar Dixon wide right now for the captain Karl Haworth. Back to Dixon. Now to Eddie Edward just inside the Richmond half. Into the middle, Portilla plays this wide left for Onwo Bassi. Here's Oliveira. Nana Adekora. Edward on the right. Now Adekora. Sends it forward, chested down by Milan Roberts. Plays that ahead, it comes to Troyer. They look to move it wide left, and they get it wide left. Richmond with pace. The ball comes across, and inside the 6-yard box, it's scooped up by Maxime Crépeau. And in the 18th minute, Ottawa leading 1-0 as it's launched by Crépeau back into the Richmond half.
Well, you look at these next 3 games coming up for Ottawa, AJ. You're home to Indy 11 on Saturday, next Wednesday in Bethlehem to take on the Steel, and then the following Saturday, the 25th, home to Penn FC. And that's a crucial 3-game stretch for Ottawa before they head out on that 5-game road trip that includes stops in New York, Toronto, Richmond, Louisville, and again in Toronto. But these next 3 games against teams that certainly you're going to battle with, certainly the first 2 with Indy and Bethlehem. Penn FC has kind of dropped out of the race, but as you mentioned, with the parity that we're seeing in the Eastern Conference right now, even a win this weekend for Penn can put them back into that conversation.
Free kick for Ottawa Fury, about 28 yards out. Brian Shriver is a one-man wall right at the edge of the penalty area on the corner of the 18-yard box. As Oliveira, just a little right of the right edge of that penalty area, will deliver this with his right foot, and it goes inside the 6-yard box, takes a bounce. Adekora couldn't get to it, but it took a touch off a Richmond player. So now Ottawa will have a corner from the far corner flag. And Portilla will look to take this. Yeah, ideally, you'd like to be in a comfortable spot before the last 4 games of the season because you're two toughest games left are in the last 4. One against Louisville, one against Charleston. Here's the left-footed outswinger here from Portilla. And this is cleared away, but not beyond Jamar Dixon. Now Haworth out wide left, Portilla. And he'll maintain possession by getting it back to the halfway line. Portilla looks for the diagonal ball right. Kanumbe, now Dixon, into the middle for Portilla. Edward plays it forward and gets it back. Now ahead towards Kanumbe, but this is grabbed by the keeper Spangenberg, who gives a little shoulder bump to Kanumbe, and Richmond in possession here, having played 20 minutes at TD Place. Ottawa Fury FC leading 1-0 over the Richmond Kickers on an 8-minute goal on a free kick from the captain, Karl Haworth. As Richmond looks to answer down the left. They get it into the middle, Shriver. The ball on the right, Eaton plays it across, and it's just tipped over the bar. Ooh, great opportunity there for Richmond. Eaton played the ball in. And it was played over the ball from the Cuban international, Cordovez. And Richmond very close to getting the equalizer there in the 21st minute.
Almost something out of nothing there for Richmond, and a great delivery across the face of goal. And Cordovez just couldn't get it on target. He sent that one up and over the bar. And it's not very often that we've seen Ottawa get broken down like that, or at least an opportunity created like that inside the 6-yard box area.
Here's Shriver with the ball, and that's headed back to goal by Eddie Edward, and Crépeau has control of it.
Again, Cordovez the target, and he's just trying to ghost him behind both Eddie Edward and Nana Adakora.
This will be a free kick for Richmond as Brandon Eaton draws the foul inside the kicker's half. Tony Taylor coming across. He's called for the foul. So Richmond brings it up from the back. Troyer gets the ball from Williams, now Milan Roberts. Here's Troyer. Mikel Williams. Sends it forward towards Cordovez, looks to turn. Goes towards the corner flag, and Obasi gets a touch on it. It will be a Richmond throw. Kanumbe. He plays it out. This will be another Richmond throw just inside the Ottawa half. And good work by Portilla reading that. It's taken though by Aguimang. Comes wide on the right. Here's Luis Fernando trying to cut inside. Obasi still maintains possession. Plays the ball inside the 18-yard box, cleared away by Thomas Mayer-Giguère. And good work here as Fury look to break on the left-hand side. It comes up Oliveira to Taylor. Tony Taylor trying to turn Williams inside out. Two defenders on him now, and Tony Taylor does win a corner for Ottawa Fury FC. Great work by Oliveira and Taylor to create this set-piece opportunity in the 24th minute.
Yeah, well, Oliveira breaks out of his own half with so much pace, and Taylor was just right in the channel, so he had to release it to Taylor, and immediately closed down by two Richmond players, and good effort for him to win Ottawa the set piece.
25th minute corner far corner flag. It'll be a right-footed in-swinger delivered from Kevin Oliveira. Just two players, now 3 and soon to be 4 and 5 inside the penalty area. Here's the delivery, about 8 yards out. It is headed clear. It's up in the air about 20 yards out and headed again. This time Eddie Edwards. As Luis Fernando goes down and draws the foul by Obasi. Here's Troyer. Milan Roberts goes forward, lays it off. Ottawa gains possession through Dixon. Haworth back to Edward, to the keeper, Crépeau. Launches it into the Richmond half. Flicked on by Kanumbe. Second ball latched onto by Oliveira. Cuts inside, and Williams recovered neatly. Otherwise, Oliveira could have cut inside him. As Richmond looks to counter here, and the flag is up for offside against the Kickers. Should mention that it's also the second leg of the Canadian Championship tonight. Vancouver Whitecaps in Toronto to take on TFC. 2-2 in the first leg, so away goals right now has TFC in the driver's seat. If it ends 0-0, this will be a free kick for Richmond here.
Yeah, and by good fortune that they find themselves in the driver's seat, and 2-1 they were trailing into stoppage time in that match, and a guy who played a handful of games here with Ottawa on loan from the Whitecaps, and Daniil Henry, in an effort to try and head it back to his keeper, doesn't find the intended target and ends up an own goal that certainly breathed some fortunate life into Toronto FC's hope of returning as Canadian champions.
Yeah, it was 1-1 in the first half, and then I thought a terrible decision on a red card. Should have been maybe a yellow. Put Vancouver down to 10 men in the second half, and then they dominated the second half. Alphonso Davies was brilliant. They got the 2-1 lead, and yeah, right at the death, it was that unfortunate own goal by Daniil Henry to give Toronto FC the advantage going home, but we'll keep our eyes peeled for that one, along with that Indy 11 North Carolina FC match tonight, which has direct playoff implications for Ottawa. Crépeau sending this into the Richmond half for Ottawa Fury, leading 1-0 on an 8th-minute goal from the captain, Karl Haworth. Eaton deflects out, and say it went off the Fury defender last, so it will be a Richmond throw. And the referee, Suarez, saying, get back. You keep stepping up, and finally able to get this ball in for Cordovez, but goes right to Adekora. Now Agumang plays it ahead, and this goes back to the Ottawa keeper, Crépeau, edge of the 18-yard box, and he'll just pick this up. Some pressure on him now. Header won by Obasi, flicked on now by Tony Taylor on the left, Kanumbe, and this will go out for an Ottawa throw. Obasi will step forward to take this. For Christian Portilla, into the middle for Dixon. Wide right for Eddie Edward. Dixon for Eddie Edward. Comes back to Crépeau. Head to Obasi just inside the Richmond half. Obasi sends this forward, and Kanumbe can't keep it in play, and it will be a goal kick here in the 30th minute. Fury leading 1-0 on Richmond.
Well, it's really been one quality opportunity for either side, and of course Karl Haworth making good on Ottawa's in the 8th minute, converting the free kick, and Cordoves missing that opportunity about 10 minutes later. Other than that, both teams again being very cautious, trying to limit anything through the heart of that midfield.
Goes wide left and comes back now to Halavity. Now it's an Ottawa throw as we've played exactly 30 minutes here at TD Place. So far so good if you're a Fury fan. That 1-0 lead through Karl Haworth. Ten games left after tonight, 6 on the road. But again, a lot of winnable games left on the slate. If we're hoping for Ottawa Fury FC, you've got Indy 11 at home, at Bethlehem, home to Penn FC, at New York Red Bulls 2 and Toronto FC 2, then at Richmond. That's where it gets a little bit more difficult in the last 4, at Louisville, then at TFC 2. Then home to Bethlehem and home to Charleston. Those Louisville and Charleston games, clearly the 2 most difficult of the lot. That's why I think you don't need everything wrapped up after 7 games, but I certainly wouldn't want to be in a position where you need more than 6 points. And ideally, maybe you only need 4 points through those last 4 games. Maybe you get 13 points or so in the next 7. Let's go down for a pitch side update. Here's Tyler McDonald.
Thank you very much, AJ. And on the Richmond Kickers bench, head coach David Bulow, a lot of pondering going on and thinking of how he can turn this run of form around for his team. Of course, no goals in the last 4 games, and including in today's game as well. You have to think he's looking for those 1-2 passes along the outside, along the wing, especially over towards this near side, and Brandon Eaton, hoping that he can try and get past onto Abasio. So look for that, maybe the ball to come toward this near side for Richmond. But for themselves, they're trying to think, how can they get this 1 goal to start easing that pressure of scoring over the last 4.5 games. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Tyler. Be an Ottawa throw here inside the Richmond half as Obasi gets us in play, but over the head of Kanumbe, and this will go out for a goal kick. Always, everyone develops those tendencies, right? And sometimes it takes a while for those tendencies to be found out by your teammates. And you're talking about a new player like Daniel Kanumbe.
Yeah, no question, and he's getting his first start tonight. Came on as a sub against Nashville last Friday, and I thought had a very bright debut in Fury colors against Nashville. Certainly takes some time to adjust, get that timing right on those balls, whether it's coming from Obasi or Oliveira down that left side. You were talking earlier, AJ, about, we've got, including tonight, 12 games remaining, and looking to try and get 5 wins, 2 draws from those remaining 12 games to, in all likelihood, solidify yourself into a playoff spot. That said, albeit you don't really want to be in that 8th spot, because that means an opening round away date in Cincinnati. And if there's one team I think you want to avoid in that opening round, it's certainly FC Cincinnati. Going away to a team like Pittsburgh, Charleston, you know what you're going to be facing, but those are games where you have to go and try and grind out a 1-0 victory, because that's how the other teams really are likely going to play it. But if you look at some of these remaining games, when you've got Richmond tonight, Indy, your next home game, Bethlehem after that.
Great work by Jamar Dixon to win that ball on the right, but This will be Richmond possession here in the 35th minute.
Right there, you're talking 3 wins in terms of your next 3 home games, including tonight. You've got 2. Yes, they're on the road against TFC2, but that's a team you should be picking up 6 points against in those remaining 2 fixtures. So right there, you're at 5, at those 5 wins if you're looking to what the potential is, and there's still 2 home games remaining after that against Bethlehem and Charleston. Certainly much stiffer competition.
Reality, if you're a player, I mean, the math is fun for you and I and fans, and certainly I think the coaching staff and management has to be aware of that as well. But if you're a player, you just go out and you're hoping to get on a roll and play your best soccer down the stretch and win as many games and see where it leads you.
Absolutely. No question. We know what that mindset is, and it has to be, as we said earlier in the pregame with what the captain Karl Haworth said was, look, the playoffs begin tonight, and it needs to begin with 3 points against Richmond. And certainly that's, we'll call it a dose of desperation, has to be in that mindset in each of the remaining games, because you need to play like it's a must-win every night.
Tander, the 37th minute here at TD Place. It's 1-0 for Ottawa Fury FC over Richmond as this ball goes over the head of Cordovez and out for an Ottawa goal kick. Really just the one big chance for Richmond. The ball that was put over the bar from close range by Javier Cordovez, the Cuban international. As this goes out for a Richmond throw. Blavati. Now Troyer, and this will be a free kick for the Kickers. The Kitchener Kickers, was it not? The old CSL. Trying to.
Minnesota had Minnesota Kickers back in the NASL days.
There's Obasi with a good run. Down the left side, beats 2 men and tries to beat a third, and he will get a free kick for Ottawa. So this will be about 35 yards out, left of center. And Portilla will curl this in with his left foot. 5 players hovering right at the edge of the 18-yard box of Richmond. Here's the delivery from Portilla, and it is cleared away towards Luis Fernando. Fernando trying to cut inside Oliveira, plays it out wide and comes back to Eddie Edward, the last defender, and he'll launch it forward towards Taylor. Comes back to Karl Haworth, wide right, Tony Taylor. 2 defenders on him. He plays it back out wide for Haworth. Just inside the Richmond half for Eddie Edward. Ahead towards Tony Taylor, and he's called for the foul. Free kick Richmond, 39th minute, 1-0. Ottawa with the lead.
Well, one of the keys I was talking about was just kind of that offensive depth tonight, AJ, and I think what Nikola Popovic, knock on wood anyways, has at his disposal right now is depth throughout his squad. And you look at some of the additions of Gagnon Laparé, Daniel Haber, and of course more recently Canadian international David Edgar. He has plenty of depth throughout that defensive position, perhaps you could say into the midfield. Be interesting to see how he used David Edgar, and of course now up top Daniel Haber in there.
Here's Eddie Edward now down the right, beats one defender. Now Edward gets it a go, and that will go wide of the target. Great effort by Eddie Edward down the right, as that's Ottawa's best chance since the opening goal from Haworth.
Great move by Eddie Edward to get space around his man. And a powerful drive with the outside of that right boot, but unfortunately just went wide of that near post. And if any player deserves a goal for Ottawa, my goodness, Eddie Edward, another tremendous season with the club. Tremendous effort from him on such a consistent basis, and he is up and down that right flank.
Troyer fouled, and this will be the first yellow card of the game, and it goes to Christian Portilla of Ottawa on the 41st minute. Foul just inside the Fury half. By the way, I was right. They were the Kitchener Kickers for 1 year. They were the Kitchener Spirit. I don't remember that. In 1990, and then they changed their name to the Kickers in 1991, and then they folded. Which is kind of the story of the Canadian Soccer League. I did enjoy attending Canadian Soccer League matches, though. The Edmonton Brickmen. I'll never forget losing to the Vancouver 86ers, who were clearly the class of the league. This is launched forward towards Karl Haworth. Great ball. Haworth latches onto it. Left-footed shot, and just not enough pace on it, but that was a terrific through ball to put in. Karl Haworth ran out of gas, I think, a little bit, and unable to put a lot on that ball.
What a great touch by Haworth to receive the pass and bring it down, and certainly tried to play himself away from the defensive pressure, but couldn't get the pace on it with his left foot.
Flag is up for offside against Cordovez of Richmond. 42nd minute, 1-0.
Well, I talked about desperation for Ottawa, and perhaps a bit too much desperation from Cordovez tonight. Really trying to get in behind Ottawa's back line, and some of those runs are just coming a little bit too early. And it's been a frustrating year. They're not scoring very often, haven't scored in the last 4+ games.
As I was saying, I went to an 86ers Brickman playoff game somewhere in the late 80s where the Brickmen actually had a 3-0 lead in the first half, and they lost 5-3. Not on aggregate. They lost the match 5-3.
Carl Valentine play for 86ers then?
I believe so.
Oh, yes.
Bobby Leonarduzzi.
Was that
Mark Norman was on that team.
I guess that was that would have been a few years after Bruce Grobelaar would have played there.
Yes,
that's when
he played for the Whitecaps in the NASL.
He got his professional start because of what he did with Vancouver, and then got the opportunity to go to England and obviously go on to the remarkably successful career that he had. And speaking of Bruce, recently played in goal for the club he's coaching at the age of 60. Imagine that.
Well, he still looks pretty sharp. 44th minute, 1-0 Fury. Richmond building up here through Troyer. Comes back Williams to Milan Roberts. Expecting 1 minute of stoppage time. A minimum of 1 minute to end the first half as this ball comes forward towards the byline, and just Richmond unable to keep this in play.
Should note that it was Zimbabwe's Matabalanda that Bruce started for, a 1-0 win over Chagos Island. And that occurred back in towards the end of June, but just heard the story earlier in the week, and he's always a great character during his time here in the nation's capital.
Who would have given Liverpool a better chance to win the Champions League final? Bruce Grobbelaar at 60 or Loris Karius this year?
I'm sure, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'm sure at some point over the course of his illustrious career, he had a gaff or two, but he also had some remarkable saves for them in some very clutch moments in that club's decorated history.
So into first half stoppage time, and they're calling Haworth for a foul just inside the Richmond half. Richmond will take this quickly. Agamang moves this forward and cleared away by Eddie Edward. Comes back to the keeper, Spangenberg. Moves this wide left and give up possession a little too easily here, as Ottawa will have a late first half throw. Eddie Edward coming across to take this. Gets this in play, back to goal Haworth, and there goes the halftime whistle. And Fury not threatened too much. Cordovez with the one chance, but Ottawa with a goal through Karl Haworth. They lead at 1-0 at halftime. Let's hear now from the head coach of Ottawa Fury FC. For Ross Video, it is Nikola Popovic.
Hey, Coach. How would you rate your team's performance thus far in the first half?
I think it was a good performance. It's a tough opponent, as we expected. We had a chance, we score a goal, we have a couple of more. But I think if in the second half we have a little bit more of the ball, I think we can create more chances and we can create and score more goals.
So would you say that that would be the key to success in securing the win in the second half then?
Yes. I think if we are able to secure the ball, secure possession, get a little bit more ball, more movement, I think we are going to get the chances to score more goals.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
And there you have the comments of Nikola Popovic at halftime. Fury FC leading 1-0 after a beautifully bent free kick from the captain, Karl Haworth.
Yeah, fantastic finish from the captain. Good to have him back. We talked about that offensive depth and how it was much needed for Ottawa, and he certainly looked good when he came on as a second half substitute last Friday against Nashville. But to what Nicola said, in the second half, to close this out, they need more possession. And there didn't need to be that urgency from them in that second half, but it is a one-goal lead. There was certainly an opportunity squandered by Cordovez that could have easily leveled this game about 10-11 minutes after Haworth opened the scoring. But they need more possession. They need to create more opportunities, and simply put, they need to finish more chances. They need more offense, and this is a team that they should be generating more offense against.
Coming up, it is our halftime show. With a score, Ottawa Fury FC 1 and the Richmond Kickers 0. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru
Beep.
Impreza.
Beep. Ouch.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Underneath the stadium lights, 1-0 at halftime for Ottawa Fury FC as they lead against the Richmond Kickers off a Karl Haworth free kick early on in the first half. And every week we get treated to goals and saves of the week. And we're going to take a look this week at week 22, saves of the week, and watch out for a good chance from our very own Karl Haworth against Nashville SC.
Haworth, that's a great shot, and an even better save from Matt Pickens. It was on a rope.
With the swing on the follow-up, here's Tater, here's Bajim, a block and a big save by Tyler Derrick.
Flag stays down, Wolf falls into the air for 4, and the save is produced by Fernino, but it's opportunity stuff for Culbertson, and Fernino recovers.
Delp another look. Cole finds Flemings! Excellent save, Kuzminski. How about the touch? That's got to be a nominee for Save of the Week. Here's Ferris on the other end. Dykstra with a big save.
More saves may be coming in this second half here as both teams, well, at least for Ottawa Fury FC, look to hold out this 1-0 lead. Richmond looking to come back and try to get their first goal in 4 matches. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, our halftime show up next. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Cochran tonight appearing in his 71st career match with San Antonio FC. He's been with the club all 3 seasons, most consistent there on the back end.
I felt like my whole life I've always had to prove people wrong. Getting cut from the state ODP team when you're 13 because you're too small, and then in your club team you sit on the bench until you're 16 or 17 years old because you're too small. Everything kept referring back to you're too small. There's no better feeling in the world of being able to look at someone that told you no and to be able to say, I told you so. You kind of see it all when you go through times of playing, getting cut, being someone on the field, playing all the time. It kind of gives you a good grasp of where different players are and what their mentality might be. It's definitely shaped who I am. I wouldn't change anything for my career or for how it's gone. Not only have I grown as a player, I think I've grown as a man in terms of being able to deal with anything that I really think that's thrown at me. I think there's a bunch of different ways that you can be a leader. Bring my lunch pail to work every single day, and I try to get better every day. And if I have that kind of mentality and other people see me pushing, regardless of what we're doing, that's the kind of leader I want to be. This is my 3rd year here, and to be able to stay in one place and to really grow with it has been a tremendous honor, and it's something that I don't take for granted at all. Every time that I step on the field, I hope that I represent this club and this city. It's a privilege to play for such a passionate fan base. I'm Greg Cochran, defender for San Antonio FC.
Jason Johnson! You've got to be kidding me! Oh, what a finish! Prowling Spruce! Dante the other way! Oh, what a goal! Near post! Oh, what a finish by Charlie Ward! And what a world-class goal that is from Didier Drogba! Great save by Stuckhouse.
Welcome back inside TD Place in Ottawa. Halftime score is Ottawa Fury FC 1 and the Richmond Kickers 0. Let's now hear from the captain, the man who scored the Ottawa Fury FC goal, the man in profile it is, Karl Haworth.
It definitely means a lot. You know, it's a great honor to get to lead the team, you know, out on the field. And we've had some fantastic captains in the past, and being able to play under them, you know, here in Ottawa and learn a lot from them was, you know, it was a really good experience. Obviously, not knowing at the time that, you know, I'd be in this position, but you just learn from guys like, you know, your Richie Ryans, Lance Roseboom, Julian de Guzman, Rafa Alves, another one, Colin Falvey. All these guys, you know, they're leaders on and off the field, and that's really what you need. It's not just for that 90 minutes, you know, out there for the game. It's leading every single day in training, you know, leading by example, helping the younger guys, you know, guiding people through, you know, all sorts of situations, whether you're out here at practice or it's your day off and you guys are out hanging out together. So I learned a lot from those guys, and, you know, I'm really honored to get to lead this group.
All right, there's Karl Haworth as he has the goal. 8th minute free kick. Ottawa Fury FC with the halftime lead 1-0 over Richmond. Coming up next, it will be Gordon Smith and Graham Ivory breaking down the first half action, and then Graham and I will have the second half call from TD Place. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru
Beep.
Impreza.
Beep. Ouch.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
Welcome back inside TD Place as our halftime continues. Ottawa Fury FC with a 1-0 lead over the Richmond Kickers through 45 minutes. Graham Ivory, Gordon Smith along with you. Gord, it was kind of a pedestrian first half after we got that thrilling opening goal from the captain, Karl Haworth. About 10 minutes later, a chance from Cordoves, but I think pretty cautiously played by both sides as the half wore on. Your thoughts on that initial 45?
I think from an Ottawa standpoint, it's exactly that. You know, you've come back off of 2 games on the road. You know, you're sort of hedging your bets. Do you go all out? We said at the top of the broadcast, if you got the early goal, it really would set them up nicely. But they really just haven't built on that first goal to go on. But what's a strike once? I mean, we know Carl's got this in his back pocket, doesn't he? It's in his locker every single game. You get a chance 20, 25 yards from goal, a decent angle, Obviously, the goalkeeper wasn't happy. This was the big chance, though. It really should have been put in the back of the net. The Fury should have been punished for slack marking, allowing them in to get behind the back four. But it just should have been better, and you would have hoped, as a Fury fan, obviously Eddie with a good drive here, just got outside of the foot, got away from him. But you would just hope they were going to go on and build on that first goal, Graham, to make it 2, possibly even 3-0. That was a lovely through ball that went to Karl. Just couldn't get the best of finish, get his foot wrapped around it, and it finished at 1-0 here after 45 minutes. But you know, Popovic obviously has to be a little bit concerned that you haven't built on that lead, and as much as you've had a lot of the possession, which is nice, the best chance of the second half, or the first half, sorry, from open play came to Richmond, and it really should have been 1-1.
Yeah, and those highlights a presentation of Labatt as we now have a look at the first half stats brought to you by Rico. And yeah, really not much going, and it's 64% possession for Richmond, 4 offsides. As you could tell, there's that desperation from Cordovez to really try and beat that back line of Ottawa, which again, consistently those 4 guys have been together. They're communicating tremendously well, holding their line and really almost forcing Cordovez to go offside because they're not moving when he's trying to stretch them back. But as Nikola Popovic said in the interview at the end of the first half, to close this game out, for them to ensure they get all 3 points, they need more possession, and they need to bury those opportunities. And he hopes with more possession they'll have more opportunities to get back in front.
Well, the offside stat there with 4 offsides just indicates where the majority of this game is being played. And unfortunately right now, a lot of it's been in the Ottawa Fury half.
So one substitution for Ottawa Fury FC. Steven DeSantos has replaced Karl Haworth at halftime. Hopefully it's not any kind of re-aggravation of that injury that kept him out until Friday when he came on as a second half sub in that 2-0 defeat at Nashville SC.
Well, it could well be just trying to manage the minutes of Haworth as he does return from that ankle injury, and of course something that kept him out for so much of last season, and then of course another ankle injury, not the same, but again something that you want to manage. And when you do have that depth in attack with your roster at complete health, points are so valuable at this time of the year. There's no point risking the health of a player, and certainly would love to see Steven DeSantos get going when this really is the time of year when he finds so much success. And you just have to look at his career numbers kind of in the second half of any season in the last 3-4 years. That's when he puts up his offensive numbers, is in the back half of a season.
I think the amazing thing about Ottawa this year is the fact that as of right now, they sit in a playoff spot with these 3 points if they can hang on to victory against Richmond, and they don't have a guy with 5 goals. And we're 24 games into the season, so that to me is obviously, on the flip side, you do have a keeper with 10 clean sheets.
Yeah, well,
and defensively, you've been able to, for the most part, keep the ball out of the back of your net. But offensively, still looking for a little more consistency, and certainly looking for someone to step forward here in these last 10 games and pot a few more goals.
Yeah, well, look, I know they don't like the individual accolades, but you wouldn't be where you are right now in this conversation of a hunt for the playoffs if not for the play of Maxime Crépeau, who I would argue is certainly a candidate for MVP in the USL. And, you know, credit goes to all the players who defend in front of him, but he has made some game-saving stops throughout the course of this season that has kept Ottawa in games, that has scored them a point, that has won them 3 points because of his performance.
Here's DeSantos now, and looks like he's drawn a foul here just outside the penalty areas. He took a knock and is walking that off, so dangerous spot. Inside 18 yards, right of the edge of the penalty area. And right now it looks like Christian Portilla is lining this up with his left foot. 49th minute, Fury FC leading 1-0 on an 8th minute goal from Karl Haworth.
Portilla has proven how dangerous he can be with that left peg.
It will be a 2-man wall inside the 18-yard box for Richmond. 5 players inside the penalty area. Here's the delivery from Portilla, and it's headed away by former Fury FC defender Milan Roberts. Comes over towards DeSantos, flicks it on, and again, important last touch by Roberts. There were 2 forwards, well, 2 attackers, I should say, one DeSantos and the other being Nana Adakora. And just Roberts back, and Roberts got the important last touch to clear it out. It will be an Ottawa throw here in the 50th minute. Edward puts it in play, flicked on by DeSantos. It takes a bounce, and the keeper, Spangenberg, will latch onto it. Same 11 for Richmond. Spangenberg in goal, Troyer, Williams, Roberts, and Yearwood at the back. You've got Halavity, Agumang, Eaton, Fernando, Shriver, and Cordovez. And for Ottawa, Crepeau in goal, Obasi, Mayer, Jaguar, Adakora, and Edward at the back. Dixon, Portilla, and Oliveira. Then Kanumbe, Taylor, and now Steven DeSantos off the bench for Karl Haworth. 50 minutes played as Adakora draws a foul free kick for Ottawa Fury FC inside their own half.
And an update from the out-of-town score. Ben Spies gave Indy 11 a 2-0 lead in the 31st minute, but Kyle Becker, the Canadian international, pulled one back on the cusp of halftime for North Carolina. So 2-1 Indy 11 leading now early in the second half in Indianapolis.
So as of right now, that puts Indy on 35 points, tied with New York for 5th. Nashville on 34 points, tied with Ottawa. 1 point ahead of Bethlehem, who would slip out of the playoffs into 9th. And North Carolina FC would then be 4 points back. So huge these matches are as Shriver makes a run into the Ottawa penalty area, and this ball is cleared out for a Richmond throw.
It was a good run by Shriver, but terrible delivery, and he knew it. You could tell he was frustrated.
Now Obasi watches this go out for an Ottawa. Oh, they're saying this is a corner. I guess it took a touch. I didn't see it.
No, nor did I, and I think Obasi as well as Shriver both thought that that was going out for a goal kick.
So Richmond with a left-footed in-swinger from the near corner flag. Here's the delivery from Austin Yearwood, and into the arms of the keeper 2 yards from goal. That's Crepeau. Tries to start the break here down the right side, and Taylor's beat his man. Here's Tony Taylor. Taylor trying to beat the keeper. He goes down. Referee does not call a foul. Comes back out to Jamar Dixon. His ball on the left. Played in by Kanumbe, and Richmond now able to get it back. Boy, I'd like to see have a second look for sure on that play from Tony Taylor.
Well, Spangenberg came charging off his line as he needed to after a fantastic touch at midfield by Tony Taylor to put himself in. Spangenberg came out with the kind of knees forward. He did make contact with the ball, but he also got Tony Taylor. The ball went up and over Spangenberg, and Taylor couldn't get his footing to be able to slot it into the empty goal before a Richmond defender was able to clear it from harm's way.
So Richmond attacking here, left to right in their white kits and red stripes and numbers. Comes free to Shriver. His ball across, met by Obasi. And Ottawa moving right to left in the second half, cleared away through Obasi, all black and red kits with the black shorts and black socks. I don't know. I think that certainly was one that could have been called from referee Suare.
If it was called, I wouldn't have been surprised. When you look at the replay, I've seen worse not called.
Yeah, no,
I've seen less called.
It's not Stonewall. It's not Stonewall for sure.
And this isn't a shot on the officiating, because there really hasn't been anything of question tonight.
But a Richmond corner here in the 55th minute, won by Luis Fernando.
I find it is so seldom that Ottawa gets those home field advantage calls, if you will, that so often go against them away from home.
Fernando with the delivery, left-footed in-swinger, and they call a free kick going Ottawa's way inside their own penalty area. So here comes substitute number 2 for Ottawa Fury FC in the second half. Adonai Jareed will replace Daniel Kanumbe in the 56th minute. Fury leading 1-0.
Well, good home debut for Kanumbe, and now Adonai Jareed, another player who you'd love to see get going for Nikola Popovic's side. And you go back to that game when he scored the hat-trick in New York against Red Bulls 2 in that dominant Ottawa victory back on the 24th of June. And he looked so strong and confident at that time, and I don't know if it was just that volume of games through June and into July that we just kind of saw the effectiveness that we saw so much from Adonai Jareed for a good chunk of this season just kind of fade a little bit.
Just good opportunity. 19 this week, Adonai Jareed, and I'm sure that has to take its toll as well, right? When you're a young player.
Well, look, he's never been an everyday starter at the professional level, and he had some great moments when he joined the club halfway through last season. Certainly started some games, made a name for himself, and said, hey, look, this is a guy that everyone's going to want to keep their eye on, and comes back again this year and really has been put into that starting role in Ottawa's front three, and has certainly created a ton of chances, and it just makes you excited for what the future will hold for this player, both with Ottawa Fury FC, but then the potential of representing his country as well.
Here's Yearwood for Richmond with the cross, and again about 2 yards from goal. Crépeau able to gather that. Ball needed to be 3 or 4 yards deeper. It was to link up with Luis Fernando. 58th minute, 1-0 Fury. Richmond in possession inside their own half. And now Portilla wins it back. The ball that connects with Dos Santos. He'll turn, gets it out wide right. Tony Taylor. Taylor runs at the defender and stops just outside the 18-yard box. Plays it back to Eddie Edward. He'll go forward now. Played back out wide right for Taylor by Oliveira. Gets to the byline. Now with the cross. And Adonijah Reed will leave it for Obasi. Near touchline. Portilla back inside his own half. And Mayor Jaguar will play it back to Nana Adakora. This goes ahead towards DeSantos. Flag is up for offside as he looked to tee that up just inside the 18-yard box of Richmond with his left foot.
Well, it was certainly close and just a half stride too early. DeSantos breaking. You can already tell the change in Ottawa's attack with DeSantos in there, and even what we've seen from Tony Taylor here in the second half. Didn't see much from him in the opening 45 minutes. It was more the work of Karl Haworth and Daniel Kanumbe. But Tony Taylor, for me, you know what? When they made the signing, I thought this guy could be the X factor for Ottawa's offense on the year. When you look at his resume and his experience in Major League Soccer and elsewhere.
Yeah, 3 caps for Panama. Also played for the New England Revolution and NYCFC. So certainly, as you mentioned, a very good resume. As Portilla wins it back to Dixon. Now Portilla, center circle for Ottawa. About to hit the hour mark at TD Place, and Ottawa Fury leading 1-0 over Richmond.
Well, we talked about Adonijah Reed and kind of getting used to that everyday starters role, and I'm sure that's been the case for Tony Taylor, because when he was in kind of those MLS positions, he wasn't that everyday starter on a consistent basis. But the one thing that we have seen on a consistent basis really for the last 2 months now from him, when he scored that goal in the preliminary round against Blainville in the Canadian Championship, that just seemed to really shoot his confidence forward. And he has been certainly the most consistent forward in Ottawa's lineup in the last 2 months.
Here's Brian Shriver with the ball over the top, and this is grabbed by the Ottawa keeper, Maxime Crépeau. Lavati making a run. Couldn't latch on to that Shriver ball.
Shriver really drawing a bit further back in the midfield to try and get something going for Richmond, and certainly has that creativity, albeit, you know, certainly better known for his striking ability.
Well, this Steven DeSantos
great work
with the great control on the top of his head, and now he draws a free kick just outside the 18-yard box, about parallel with the right edge of the penalty area.
A special piece of skill there from the big fella. Now sets Ottawa up with another great opportunity on a set piece, and they've only scored just twice on free kicks, at least direct on to goal, not kind of putting one into the penalty area, but direct on target twice this year, and both have come off the boot of Karl Haworth, at least in league play. See Karl Haworth now coming back onto the bench, just in flip-flops and nothing on the ankle, so certainly looks that he's no worse for the wear, just kind of managing his return to the lineup.
So here is the delivery on this free kick in the 63rd minute. 3-man wall inside the Richmond penalty area. And it's drilled right into the wall and goes in out for a corner by Kevin Oliveira on the right foot. So Portilla will come across and take this with his left foot from the far corner flag. It'll be an in-swinger off the left foot of Christian Portilla.
Once again, it's such a unique setup, and You know, we've been calling games for 5 years, and I can't think of at any point in the NASL or USL play that we've seen a team do this with such consistency, with all the shirts going to that near post.
Here's the delivery from Portilla, and it's headed into the air. Punched out by the keeper, Spangenberg. Now the effort from Adonijah Reed, but he puts it over the bar. It will be a goal kick for Richmond. 64th minute, 1-0 Ottawa.
They give teams such fits with it, and I'm sure they do their homework, but until they've played Ottawa and you actually experience it, it's certainly something challenging, I think, for a lot of players, because you don't see that very often, and it's certainly created some great chances for Ottawa. And once again there, Adonijah Reed getting the opportunity on the volley after it's cleared out.
Richmond looking to counter here on the right side, and the ball from Luis Fernando gets skied as he looked to get that in for one of 3 attackers charging forward inside the Ottawa penalty area, and it slices out for an Ottawa goal kick in the 65th minute. Fury leading 1-0.
It's now in the 60th minute at Lucas Oil Stadium. Remains 2-1 for Indy 11 over North Carolina FC.
Let's head down pitch side and let's hear from Tyler McDonald.
Thank you very much, AJ, as Fury FC look to continue and press on the back four of the Richmond Kickers and really have caused a lot of turnovers and frustration in the back four, doing that so far in this game. It's where we're seeing a lot of Fury chances start here from the midfield. Also just want to mention, since it is I Heart Soccer Week here in Ottawa, celebrating the love of the game. Offside called against Richmond there. Camp quality was on Monday for Ottawa Fury FC when they went out and helped kids struggling with cancer and just had a fun day at camp. And Eddie Edward, Gabriel Gabinotti, Tony Taylor, and Sergio Medici all went out there to enjoy it. It's just so important it is just to spread the essence of soccer here around the community and to have, at least for one day, the kids not worry about their cancer treatment and just enjoy the day playing the beautiful game. Back to you guys.
Yeah, saw some of the pictures of that on social media. Great stuff. Fury always doing a great job getting out into the community, and no different there as the free kick goes to Richmond here in the 66th minute.
Looks like we'll have our first sub of the game for Richmond, as Scott Thompson looks ready to come into this match. And I think Uday Mura will be the next sub for Richmond, as he's also been getting geared up on the touchline.
So first player out is Austin Yearwood. He's replaced by Scott Thompson. We'll wait to see when Amura joins the fray as well. For now, 1 sub complete for Richmond, 2 for Ottawa. The other remaining subs available to Nikola Popovic, or backup keeper David Monsalve, Jeremy Lapare-Gagnon, Chris Manella, Daniel Haber, and the newest member of Ottawa Fury FC, David Edgar. Former Newcastle, Burnley, Swansea, Birmingham, Huddersfield, and Sheffield United player, along with the Vancouver Whitecaps, and earlier this year briefly with Nashville. A lot of big clubs there. Of course, none bigger than Newcastle United.
Well,
if you think Burnley or Swansea is bigger than Newcastle United, I don't see any of those teams getting $52,000 a week.
How'd they do in their home opener on the weekend?
Why don't you go chirp David Edgar about that too?
I'd be happy to let him know what my Premier League colors are. One of the best Canadian players. One of the most capped Canadian players until Julian de Guzman took that honor. Played for the mighty Tottenham Hotspurs. That was Paul Stalteri.
David Edgar, 42 caps as well. That is nothing to sneer at. 69th minute, 1-0. Ottawa Fury. Richmond in possession here just inside their own half. Milan Roberts. And he's fouled by Steven DeSantos. Free kick coming up for Richmond. So here comes the Japanese midfielder. Neil Halavati will come out for Yudai Amura shortly.
Raul Gonzalez also ready.
So they're about to bring on their last two subs as this ball caroms off Eddie Edward for a Richmond corner here in the 70th minute. So it is the captain, Shriver, set to deliver. Far corner flag. Here's the right-footed in-swinger from Shriver, and it's headed away. Jamar Dixon wearing the captain's armband, able to get his head to that, and now he sends this out for another Richmond corner, this time for the near corner flag. So this time a left-footed in-swinger set to come in from the boot of Scott Thompson. Plays this back. Halavati still on the pitch. As it comes back to Spangenberg, and now he sends it forward. Here's Roberts. Williams. Milan Roberts. Very interesting story. Came here from Sierra Leone to Canada. His family settled and actually worked his way to a cap for the Canadian senior squad. 22 games for Ottawa in 2016 and spent 5 years with FC Edmonton before that. And here come the subs. Amura on for Halavati. Actually, they're saying Amura on for Luis Fernando. So Fernando is off, not Halavati. Okay, and Halavati's coming off regardless. Raul Gonzalez is the second player coming on to replace Halavati. Either way, Fernando and Halavati out, Amura and Gonzalez in. And now they are out of subs, 72nd minute. Fury leading 1-0. Push forward, and Mayor Jaguar wins this for Ottawa. Back to Nana Adekora. Tony Taylor running, but Williams wins the header, and it comes wide left. Thompson sends it forward, and this effort goes wide on the left-hand side, and this will be a goal kick for Ottawa. As that was Raul Gonzalez giving it a go from a sharp angle. Goal kick, Fury in the 73rd minute.
The score remains 2-1 for Indy 11. They are now in the 69th minute at Lucas Oil Stadium. Possession here in the second half, not changing all that much. Ottawa had 36% in the first half, just 31 here so far in the second half, for an average of 34% throughout the match, whereas Richmond has 66%. And Nikola Popovich talked about that at halftime, about wanting more possession, which would help drive the offense.
Here's Milan Roberts for Richmond. Plays it into the middle and gets it back. Agumang ahead for Amura, and he wins a free kick inside the Ottawa half. Agumang. Wide left, Shriver. Into the middle, Troyer. Comes back into the Richmond half. Here's Milan Roberts. Troyer for Agumang. Amura. Out of Williams. Troyer. Comes forward Shriver. Down the left, Thompson. Working against Tony Taylor, gets past him to the byline. Now with the cross. And it's played back out, and ooh, the shot just wide from distance there. That was Troyer from about 25 yards out. And missed the target on the left-hand side, maybe closer to 22 yards out from Braden Troyer.
Well, when that ball first got played into the penalty area, I thought for sure they had to take the opportunity on the first touch. Didn't do so, and then it gets played out to Troyer and squared a goal, and I think another opportunity squandered for the Kickers, and you can see why this team has struggled to find offense when they struggle to hit the target.
'76th minute. And Richmond looks to have picked up some initiative here off those substitutions. As Amura in possession right now, just inside the Kickers' half. We will see Chris Manella replace Kevin Oliveira. From what we understand is a run here from Steven DeSantos, comes back to Spangenberg, and he sends it back into the Ottawa half, headed by Adekora. Zobasi takes it from Portilla, plays it back to Crépol. Into the air, Richmond able to win a header, but Dixon plays it off his head back into the Kickers' half, and this will be a foul on Adonijah Reed and a free kick. Richmond just inside the Fury half. They take it quickly. Shriver back to Roberts. Ryan Shriver. Here's Milan Roberts. He's had a solid night at the back for the Kickers.
Well, I think he's always been pretty consistent. You look at his time that you mentioned, the 5 years, I think it was, that he spent with FC Edmonton, his time here with Ottawa. You always got the same performance, the same effort level out of Milan Roberts. And what I like most about his game is that he keeps it simple, and that's what you need to do in that particular position on the field. The game has to be simple. You can't overdo things, and he's been a key reason why some of Ottawa's opportunities have been stifled here tonight.
Chris Manella in, Kevin Oliveira out. Ottawa looks to hold this 1-0 advantage, and certainly the 3 points, which would put them right back into the top 8 in USL East, with the stretch drive coming up of 10 matches left in their regular season.
Well, it's an important 3 points up for grabs, and yes, it is a 1-goal lead, but we've seen Ottawa look very comfortable in these kind of close quarters throughout the course of this season, and what Nikola Popovic has been able to do to his advantage. Karl Haworth puts in a strong 45 minutes to start. He'll be rested for Saturday's fixture against Indy 11. Kanumbe, who played 56 minutes, he gets some extra rest as he's kind of working into form with the club. And now Kevin Oliveira, who has started every game this season for Nikola Popovic's side, gets some extra rest heading into, again, that all-important next match on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock against Indy 11.
Just 2 huge games coming up, too, when you look at if Indy holds on to their lead and Ottawa holds on to their lead. Ottawa would be tied for the last playoff spot with Nashville, both on 34 points. Indy would be 1 up on them heading into that game, and they would be 1 up on Bethlehem. Now, that could change over the weekend, and to be fair, Bethlehem plays tomorrow against TFC2, so the reality is you're probably expecting Bethlehem to get 3 points, even though they're on the road in that match. And then you welcome, after that, Penn FC to TD Place. But those next 2 games, so huge. If you could get even 4 points, find a way to get a win and a draw, boy, you're in great shape down the stretch.
Just an update out of Toronto. It's halftime at BMO Field, and goals from Josie Altidore in the 39th and Sebastian Giovinco in the 44th has TFC up 2-0 on the Vancouver Whitecaps, 4-2 on aggregate. And of course, those 2 away goals holding over the head of the Vancouver Whitecaps, who know that they need at least that.
Well, now away goals not even really in the picture if you're Vancouver. You can't lose on away goals now. Eddie Edward called for a foul, and a free kick for Richmond inside their own half as the Ghanaian midfielder Agyemang went down.
Should also mention there are other games going on across the USL tonight. St. Louis FC, 5 minutes in, have a 1-0 lead over Sacramento Republic. That goal just scored moments ago. Orange County home to Las Vegas. That one set to get underway at 10 o'clock Eastern, and Portland Timbers 2 getting underway against San Antonio at 10:30.
Shot here coming in from Raul Gonzalez, and that misses high, and it will be a goal kick for Ottawa in the 82nd minute. 1-0 Ottawa Fury FC. A reminder that Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com.
And as quick as I said, St. Louis were up 1-0 early on Sacramento. It's now 2-0, and that game now just 7 minutes old. So a fantastic start from St. Louis FC, who this season are captained by former Fury player Jonathan Barden.
Ball goes off Tony Taylor for a Richmond throw.
A foul throw, my goodness. Oh, terrible.
Here's Cordovez now. Gives it a go from distance, and it's punched over the top as Cordovez, it seems speculative, but from about 30 yards out, put it on target and forces the parry from the Ottawa keeper Crépeau, and it will be a corner now for Richmond in the 83rd minute.
Yeah, that ball dipped on Crépeau, who was well positioned and reacted well to parry that one up and over. And now another set piece to defend here for Ottawa.
Thompson with the left-footed in-swinger near corner flag, and that's good work there to head it away. Steven DeSantos. And now, can DeSantos keep it in play? He does. Here comes DeSantos in on goal. He lays it across, and it's 2-0 Ottawa Fury, and it's Tony Taylor with the goal. DeSantos does it all. He heads it from his own penalty area, wins the ball, and lays it off miles downfield. Taylor with the goal. 2-0 Ottawa Fury in the 84th minute.
Well, that was the goal that they desperately needed. And that one will most certainly put this one out of reach. Tremendous work by Steven DeSantos to break free down that left side. Draws in the keeper, Spangenberg, and calmly slots it over to Tony Taylor, who emphatically roofs the ball into the empty goal to give Ottawa that 2-0 lead. Now Tony Taylor joins Steven DeSantos and Kevin Oliveira with the club lead, his 4th goal of the season.
Well, all important insurance marker, because Richmond's had a couple of opportunities here in the last quarter of an hour. And now hard to envision them scoring 2 in the last 5.5 minutes plus stoppage time. But here they are right now, and the shot deflects just wide of goal, and it will be a corner for Richmond. They just about got one right back just seconds after the goal, as the shot came in from the right side by Eaton. Took a deflection off Mayor Jaguar, and now it's a corner. Far corner flag. The delivery on the right foot of Shriver. Cleared away. It comes back to Shriver now. Edward on him, and Edward sends it out for another corner now in the 86th minute.
And Mario Loomis has just scored for North Carolina FC to pull them level. It's 2-2 in Indianapolis.
Here's Shriver again with a right-footed in-swinging corner, and they're calling a free kick Ottawa's way, as looks like Milan Roberts called for the foul inside the Ottawa penalty area.
So if that result were to hold, that would pull Ottawa to a tie for 6th with Nashville on 34 points. Of course, Nashville have played, at least after tonight, 2 fewer games than Ottawa.
Fury in possession again. We'll get to Tyler McDonald for a quick note in a moment, and let's do that right now as Fury lead at 2-0 in the 87th minute. Tyler.
Thank you very much, AJ. And Fury FC, of course, jubilee right now, leading 2-0, but have to be careful during that last sequence as Richmond continue on here. During that last sequence, a lot of confusion going on defensively in terms of marking. Head coach Nikola Popovic screaming and yelling, making sure that these players, his players, keep their heads, keep their marks, and try to come out with a clean sheet in this game as well. We've seen Richmond really kick on here in the second half, add lots of pressure, and the last thing that Fury FC want right now is Richmond. You get a glimmer of hope. Back to you guys.
Here's Amura for Richmond. Plays it back just inside the Ottawa half. Roberts gets it forward, and now this is shepherded out for a goal kick. Ottawa Fury FC in the 88th minute, leading 2-0. Here's the goal kick from Craypole. Flicked on Adonai Jaree. He draws a free kick inside the Richmond half. Comes to Adonijah Reed, and now he's called for a foul. Free kick goes Richmond's way. Didn't really see much there. Williams for the Kickers. Chested down here, but Obasi will deal with this, and they'll send it into the north side stands for a Richmond throw. Reminder that you can stay up to date with all the best from social media around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening in the USL's social media channels. It's at USL on Twitter. Of course, Facebook.com/USL Soccer on Facebook. You can also watch highlights and much more there, and on Instagram as well. Also make sure to get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest edition of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com. Hearing there will be a minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time. As Shriver wins another corner. Plays this off of Eddie Edward, who goes down right at the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, it looked like he jarred his knee on that effort to prevent the cross in from Shriver. Nope, wasn't the knee at all.
No, I think probably a lot more short-term pain, but fortunately less long-term pain. Right in the old midsection, and I don't mean the stomach. Confirmation that it is a minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time.
Don't forget that following tonight's match, you can head over to the Ottawa Fury Facebook page, and Gordon Smith will join myself for the Fury FC Facebook Live post-match show, and we'll hear from the head coach Nikola Popovic, as well as at least a player or two, following to tonight's all-important victory here at TD Place. Hearing that we'll hear from both Tony Taylor and Karl Haworth post-match tonight.
I have to say, Gordon was quite brilliant in his appearance on corner kicks on Monday. Dylan Dyson and myself on TSN 1200. Not so brilliant when I was texting with him yesterday, but that seems to be less the norm. I think on the air, brilliant all the time. Texting, sometimes it gets beyond him a little bit. But we love Gord.
Gord is great. Gord, as a Rangers supporter, is very happy with the plight that Celtic have faced over the course of the last 4 or 5 days. Lost to Hearts in the Scottish Premier League.
I don't know how it's good news, Graham Ivory, that the Scottish coefficient already in the toilet is basically going down even further after there will be no Scottish team to be destroyed in the Champions League this year, whether it's Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Aberdeen, Dundee, or Hibernian. I don't think that's good news for anybody, but the coefficient keeps going down. Corner here, DeSantos will leave it. Portilla comes across. He'll just play it short. DeSantos will try to kill some clock here. And it goes off Richmond last for another Ottawa throw, and we're getting into the last seconds now of this one.
No one wants to take the throw in, naturally.
Well, this certainly not going to say it was as pretty as, say, the Tampa Bay victory, but The only thing that matters at this stage right now, do you get the 3 points? And Ottawa Fury FC, as the whistle goes, successful. They win 2-0 over Richmond. They do what they have to do. They get the 3 points. And Fury FC back in a playoff spot once again. It seems they keep going in and out, but they're back in the top 8 after this very important 2-0 home victory over Richmond.
Yeah, they're back in a big way with a 2-0 victory here tonight. Winners of 4 of their last 5 at home, and we talked about this coming into late July, into the month of August, the importance of picking up the points at home, and outside of that kind of blemish, that 3-0 defeat to Louisville, they've been very strong at home. They don't concede much. They don't give away very much tonight. Maxime Crépeau was, solid when called upon once again, now tied for the league lead with 11 clean sheets, but that was a very important performance from Ottawa Fury FC tonight. Huge 3 points, able to get some guys rested ahead of an all-important match against Indy 11 on Saturday afternoon. Their game's still ongoing with North Carolina FC tonight. That will also have a big impact in terms of where things stand heading into the weekend.
Coming up next, it's our post-match show. Final score, Ottawa Fury FC 2, Richmond Kickers 0. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
And welcome back inside TD Place. AJ Jakubek, Graham Ivory with you. A 2-0 victory for Ottawa Fury FC over the Richmond Kickers. And let's get right to the man of the match, Graham. And a lot of different candidates. Eddie Edward had a nice match. Certainly, hey, it's another clean sheet. Make it 11 to tie for the league lead for Maxime Crépeau. Karl Haworth in 45 minutes. Steven DeSantos. You can go up and down the park, but tonight we're giving our man of the match to Tony Taylor.
Look, offense was the most important factor tonight for Ottawa Fury FC. They've struggled to score, as have their opposition. But Tony Taylor tonight, his performance, especially in that second half, he's been the most consistent player offensively for Ottawa for 2 months running now. And that second goal was very important because it came at a time where there was about a 5-6 minute spell where you were wondering, is Richmond going to find a way to steal something here tonight? They were generating opportunities, and then even after the goal, they had another strong opportunity. A very important goal. Yes, Steven DeSantos did a ton of work down that left side, but that was a clutch finish for Tony Taylor, who earlier in that half could well have had a shout for a penalty kick after he broke free on a breakaway and was knocked down by Spangenberg as he attempted to make the save. So full value for Tony Taylor tonight. We'll hear from him coming up in our post-match show on Facebook Live.
Next broadcast comes to you on Saturday afternoon right here from TD Place. Ottawa hosting the Indy 11. As of right now, they sit ahead of Indy 11 and in 7th place, Indy 8th, and then the team they play right after that, in the Lehigh Valley, the Bethlehem Steel in 9th. So we're talking about 2 huge, important matches for Ottawa Fury FC coming up, home to Indy Saturday and at Bethlehem Wednesday.
Yeah, and then you got Penn FC coming up at home, and that's the best thing. You can control where things go for you because of who you're playing against and teams that you're wrestling for those playoff spots with. So great effort from Ottawa Fury FC tonight. And now they'll have to play against a tired Indy 11 team who, at last look, were 2-2 with North Carolina FC. So that will knock them down the table from what you see there.
Yeah, from 35 to 33, as long as it stays 2-2.
Sure. And now you're talking about, again, 2 teams that are going to be in that exact same frame of mind. I think we're going to have a spectacular game on Saturday afternoon between Ottawa and Indy, who, of course, already have that history dating back to 2014.
Well, look forward to the call. We know your great luck when you call games, Graham Ivory. So you and Gordon Smith will have the call on Saturday afternoon here at TD Place. Final score this evening. It's Ottawa Fury FC 2, the Richmond Kickers 0. On behalf of our entire crew, Mike Sutherland, Tyler McDonald, Gordon Smith, Graham Ivory, I'm AJ Jakubek saying so long. Have yourself a wonderful Wednesday night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.